Hey, good people, and welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. I am your host, Michelle Dawes Birt, and I'm super excited. You know what? I'm going to adjust myself. Am I this way? Yes, I need to be in the middle because I'm not sharing a physical space today. My guest is going to be calling in via Zoom. But yes, I am super excited to be here with you. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here in Atlanta, Georgia. We had some tornado watch scarings last night, so people scurried home somewhere around after 11 o'clock. I think because it's St. Patrick's Day weekend, people were drinking early. They was out drinking and having a good time. There was traffic jams everywhere because people were trying to get it in before the inclement weather hit last night. I'm grateful I'm safe and sound. We had power this morning. I don't think there's been too many outages in my neighborhood. And so far, so good. It's a sunny day. It's a little brisk and cool. I think we're a few days from where we're officially going to welcome in spring. But, you know, there it is. There you have it. We're just excited about that. Just a lot of changes going on. I'm not even going to bore you with everything that's happening. I mean, you know, with this current administration, you have to be paying attention as to what's going on. People are losing employment based on some of the executive decisions and orders. Just a lot of changes in the atmosphere. And so we're paying attention, just making sure we do what we could do to enlighten and heighten the situations and just keep people motivated and inspired. Today is no different. I want to first of all thank all of our new listeners. Thank you guys for just spending a little time with us. Let me tell you a little bit about what Real Chicks Rock is all about. We're all about creatively collaborating and connecting to raise awareness regarding issues that impact women. And we have been doing various different things: community service engagement, public speaking, mentoring. We've had workshops, and then we've been doing this media platform here. I like to call it the arts. We have been fortunate to be podcasting since April of 2016. I'm going to let you do the math. We are in 2025. So we are slowly approaching a 10-year mark of having insightful conversations. Thanks, Joe, my producer. And we've been having some conversations with people I just like and admire. And today is no different. Today, we're going to have a conversation with someone that I think is very interesting and intriguing. Today's topic is all about living beyond our diagnosis and being healthy. Our guest today is Angel Thompson. Angel, welcome to Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you for having me, Michelle. How
Oh,
are you today?
awesome. Looking good. Where are you from, Angel?
I am based out of and from Washington, D.C.
Is that right? Your whole life been in the
Yes, I'm
DC
native
area?
Washington, D.C. Yes.
My goodness. And so are the streets bubbling based on the current administration? What's going to go?
It depends on what street you turn down. You know, we have different quadrants in D.C. So
Yes.
depending on which quadrant, it could be quiet or it could be just chaotic, but it just
Yeah.
depends.
Yeah. So how have you been doing since the inauguration and everything that's been changing? You've been doing okay?
I've been doing as well as I can be during
Mm.
since we have a new president in office. Yes.
Yes. Well, you look good, Angel. Tell me a little bit. Tell me a little bit about your story. So you've been in DC all of your life. When did you get diagnosed with breast cancer?
So my cancer story started in 2021. I was
Mm-hmm.
diagnosed at the age of 30. I
Mm-hmm.
have a whole family history of breast cancer. So on the paternal side and on my maternal side, I was the first one in my family diagnosed. The first oncologist I saw initially dismissed my claim. So
Mm.
I got a second opinion and really just had to advocate not just for my mammogram, but additional testing such as ultrasounds and biopsies. And then when I received those results in the fall of 2021 with the second oncologist, they diagnosed me with stage one invasive ductal carcinoma, and my cancer was estrogen positive.
My goodness.
I had surgery. So my diagnosis was in October of 2021. I had a lumpectomy in January of 2022. I had 4 rounds of chemotherapy. Chemotherapy was March, April, May, and then I had 20 rounds of radiation, and radiation ended in July Because my cancer was aggressive and spread to my lymph nodes and also hormonal positive, I am on treatment for the next 5 years, and I'm currently participating in a clinical trial with that medication.
Okay, so first and foremost, congratulations on beating that sentence. Thank you so much for sharing that. Yeah, you get that. You get that. You certainly do. I have several questions, Angel, so please bear with me. What was there, were you feeling a particular way when you went to the doctor, hence why, or was it just a routine mammogram? How did we get in
So
that
that's a
first phase?
wonderful question. So it definitely wasn't a routine mammogram because mammograms aren't even required for people in their 30s. So typically mammograms are over 45 or 50 years of age. They are pushing for legislation for women to get mammograms at the age of 40.
Mm-hmm.
My dermatologist found my lump. So that's why I push for and I advocate just not for diversity in the healthcare field, but for your doctors to actually look like you because the side effects on a fair skin will look different as the side effects on a darker skin.
Wow.
I initially went into my dermatologist for a cosmetic procedure. I was in my
Wow.
30s. I was getting laser hair removal under my arm. I
Okay.
my right arm, and she noticed the lump. I thought it was a mole, something that like the procedure just could skip over, I guess. And she said, absolutely not, Miss Thompson. We can't move forward until you get your imaging done, because any lump outside of the body is classified as a tumor, be it benign or malignant. So we had
Mm-hmm.
to get imaging done, and that's when I ran into all the hurdles with that first oncologist. And it's actually documented in my chart that says that the tumor is most likely benign, but I'm ultimately interested in getting it removed. And I think just for me pushing for it to be documenting in my chart, but also like my advocacy and pushing for a second opinion led to my early diagnosis.
Wow. So that is the scary thing, Angels. Like we go to the doctor for one thing,
Yes.
right? Because your dermatology has nothing to do with your breasts. Nothing to do. I'm thinking it's a mammogram. You're doing that. So no. So you're going to get your face, some hair removed, laser, and
Yeah.
shouts out to that doctor, right? Who
I
determined
wear
something that,
flowers every
yes,
year. Yes,
yes.
indeed.
Thank you so much, doctor, for recognizing something that wasn't normal and didn't try to normalize it or sweep it under the rug and said, you no, this isn't good. In order for me to do my job, I need to make sure that you're good and you get clearance on what we've discovered. So shouts out to that doctor for doing that. And so then the quest began. And so you went to one oncologist and they dismissed it. They said it was benign and they didn't detect anything there.
They dismissed it completely. But prior to the dismissal, and it's so crazy how I can just, in the cancer world, we have something called chemo brain where we like forget things or have brain hiccups or memory
Mm.
blocks, fogs. When it comes to my cancer diagnosis, I can remember the outfit I had on, the day, the light
Yeah.
I ran through, what I
Yeah.
had for breakfast the day
Oh
before.
my gosh.
Leaving the dermatologist office, she gave me a list of radiologists in the area. I called about 20 folks.
Wow.
No one had an appointment until 2022, which would have been after my birthday, several months after that first concern. I
Wow.
drove myself to the emergency room. This was during the pandemic, so COVID days. They didn't
Ooh.
have any radiologist techs at the hospital because they were on a surplus of COVID nurses. The doctor at the hospital referred me to an oncologist down the street, and that is who initially dismissed my concerns. And then I took just took those notes, and I went to another oncologist.
Mm. So you persevered in the middle of COVID.
Yes, indeed.
My goodness. My goodness. So the first one said nothing, but what was in you that made you say, well, let me get a second opinion?
That's a wonderful question. It's just, I want to say my life journey. So prior to my breast cancer diagnosis, I had uterine fibroids and ovarian cysts.
Okay.
I've always had aggressive periods,
Mm.
migraines associated with my menstrual cycle, and I
Mm.
was always dismissed by the doctors from age 15 all the way up until 25.
Mm-hmm.
When I turned 25, I got like my real big girl job in America, and I had wonderful health insurance. And I had an OBGYN that did not even just, she listened to me. I can't even say she
Okay.
did not dismiss my claim. She listened to me and
Mm-hmm.
she asked me, what did I want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So many doctors before her were about family planning or egg preservation. I was 25,
Yeah.
fresh out of grad school. I was not thinking about families at the moment. I just wanted to be pain free and
Mm-hmm.
return to some sense of normalcy,
Mm-hmm.
which I didn't know existed until
Mm-hmm.
after my surgery. So I want to say 90 days into my new job, I had a myomectomy. I told a few people I wasn't as transparent with this journey as I am with my breast cancer journey.
Right.
I had that surgery and I went back to work. And a year later, my breast cancer diagnosis came.
Wow. Wow. And a myomectomy is not easy.
And not at all.
Let's keep it cute because I had a myomectomy, and so and that really, let's explain. To my understanding, that's the removal of fibroids that are in the walls of your uterus. Is that
Yes,
correct?
so I had ovarian cysts and I
Mm,
had uterine fibroids. So
mm,
my cysts and my ovaries, one ovary was completely covered in fibroids. I want to say 70% of my
really?
ovary was covered. Yes, indeed. And that surgery was at the beginning of the pandemic. So right when the world was starting to shut down, because that was February 2020, the world shut down March 2020. A year later, that fall of 2021 is when I was diagnosed with breast cancer.
My God.
So I've lived
Let me
constant cycle of healing.
Wow, Angel. Let me ask you this because you're a beautiful young lady. You're a beautiful woman. And let me ask, in your journey with the fibroids, was there any new evidence as to where they come from initially? Is it stress? Was it dietary? Was that something that was hereditary? I know you made it very clear in your opening statements that cancer did not run in your family, right? But did fibroids run in the family? Any kind of new discoveries on that?
So my mom, I believe, had ovarian cyst in her early 20s or
Okay,
30s.
okay.
Just like the cancer and the fibroids, they diagnose it as environmental. So when they do, I know with my breast cancer, I did genetic testing and it was environmental. So that could be where you live, where you go to school, what
Mm,
you eat, the air, your environment. It could
right.
literally be any and everything. So there was no concrete diagnosis.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. So you had a lot going on after you got your first real job.
Yes, yes, yes.
And how long were you out for your myomectomy?
I only did FMLA. So I no, I didn't do FMLA. So I was probably out for under 6 weeks. Like I had my surgery
Yes.
and I went back to work immediately, which
Mm,
was one of my first lessons during my breast cancer journey. Healing is a linear. You could feel good on Monday and by Wednesday you are back down.
yeah.
But I did not listen to my body during that first surgery.
Wow, wow, wow. And so now that we have this second oncologist, were you feeling anything even from the time of the dermatologist saying there's this lump that I've discovered to you getting to at least a second oncologist? Did you feel anything within your body? Any changes at all?
I did not have any of the physical symptoms that they tell people to look out for. So when they encourage women to do or encourage people to do their annual breast exam, because males can
Mm-hmm.
get breast cancer as well. So when
Mm-hmm.
people do their annual breast cancer exam, they tell you to check for lumps or nipple discharge or redness or so. I didn't have any
Any
of
of
that
that.
to the point where if I would have ignored that first initial diagnosis, I just would have went on with my life if I was a regular person.
Right. 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 What caused you not to ignore it? That's the
Just
thing.
that I just a history of being ignored in the past, and just also my background is African American history and culture. So historically, how African American women are just ignored or
Wow.
forgotten in medicine and public health. What makes me different is kind of the mindset I went into.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I stepped into the breast cancer world, as people say, oh, you're too young to have cancer,
Right.
or you're the first person I met under 30 with cancer, the community of young adult breast cancer, or just cancer patients in general, is vast, unfortunately.
Mm.
So I'm not the only 30-year-old with cancer.
No.
I'm not the only one who had to stop working and dive into a life of advocacy and healing because their body was fighting against them.
Mm.
Um, so unfortunately, this isn't like a unique story. I wish
Mm.
it was, but it's my story. So I
Right.
try my hardest to tell it.
Yeah, and it is unique because it is your story. So that's where the uniqueness comes in. Angel, let me ask you your opinion. Why do you think we've been ignored all this time? And even now in 2025, or even in these 20s, right? 2021, that's really
Mhm.
current times, in my opinion. Why do you think that we're still being ignored as Black women when it comes to our health?
It is systemic. So it starts, unfortunately, with the enslavement of African Americans,
Mm,
all the way up to when women did not have the right to vote.
mm,
So if they see you as a citizen, if they don't honor or even allow you to have a civic duty, why would they look at us or recognize us as an individual?
mm,
So it's just so many generations and systems, unfortunately, and not just in America, but it's a hard it's a hard conversation,
mm,
and people are starting to have those conversations
mm,
even with me participating in a clinical trial. um, World knows what they did to the Tuskegee during the syphilis
mm,
trials in Tuskegee. So it is just like, how can you trust that the government, or how can you trust that the doctors, or how can you trust that public medicine is actually looking out for me?
mm, mm,
And that's all you can do is trust. So I not only do I consider myself a patient, I consider myself a patient advocate, I consider myself a patient researcher. Like, I want to be able to have the conversations with the doctors on a high skill level, and also be able to get into the weeds when it comes to my diagnosis.
And I guess hence that is what has propelled you for your passion today, right,
Yeah.
Angel? So tell us a little bit about what you're doing today. Well, first of all, before we do that, you gave us a mouthful and everything that you've been through thus far. Let me pause and ask, how are you feeling and how are you doing today?
Oh, that is a wonderful question. In the moment, I don't know if it is allergies or COVID, but other than
Oh
that, I am
no.
feeling amazing. I am coming up on 3 years of the completion of chemotherapy.
Mm-hmm.
My body is able to do things that I could not do during chemotherapy, such as walk. I have hair
Wow.
now. I am able to not even just sit across from someone on Zoom, but actually set it up on my own. Those
Nice.
physical capabilities and independence that I lost during my cancer journey.
Wow.
So just being able to be present in the moment,
Mm,
I'm always trying to just hold on to my joy and my
mm,
happiness. So
mm.
I'm happy in the moment.
Congratulations on everything in your 3 years. So, what do we have? Maybe 2 more years that we have to take any kind of medicine or treatments or.
I am on 5 years. So I rang I rang the bell in 2022.
Okay.
And I was on a certain plan of medication. That did not work for me. And I started a clinical trial November 2024.
Oh,
So
okay.
not even a half year into my new medication.
Yeah.
I have 5 years left of my current medication. And I also have monthly injections associated with my treatment plan as well.
And let me know if I'm getting too personal for you care not to answer. Does this medication, have you seen any side effects? Are you able to rest and sleep at night? Are you maybe more parched? You're feeling you need more water because you're feeling dehydrated? Is there any kind of feelings, your skin itch, anything at all
So
going on?
no question is too deep into me. I value transparency
Mm-hmm.
because I people need to know what
Mm,
the side effects are so they know what to go to the doctors with.
yeah.
So I take everything to my doctor. So my cancer was hormonal positive, meaning that my body, that the estrogen causes the cancer to grow. So right now I'm in a perimenopausal state. So
Wow.
I don't have any periods. I do not have a cycle. I have the hot flashes. I have the
Mm-hmm.
body aches. I have the joint aches. I have the memory fog. I have all of the symptoms associated with menopause. Um, but outside of that, I'm trying to think if there's anything. My immune system is still a little bit compromised. So when I do go outside, I often get sick. That first week of February, like shortly after my birthday, I got hit with, and I'm saying this with a smile because I'm so much better now. I had COVID, flu, and the pink eye for over 21 days. And it was just
Whoa.
miserable and reminded me of my chemotherapy days where I was just in the bed, unable to move, just nauseous, achy. So I do get sick a lot because my immune system is still compromised.
Oh. So you just have to ride it out. There wasn't anything that you could do to help feel better. So 21 days of going through this. And then you say today you're not sure if it's allergies or possibly COVID again. Did I hear you correctly?
I was just down in Atlanta for a breast cancer conference. So it's
Wow.
often when I have like a point of contact with a bunch of people, airport, hotel, train
Yeah.
stations, I'm getting
You're going to
sick.
get something. Will your immune system get back to maybe 90 to 100% once you're off this 5-year medication journey?
Yes, and I believe my immune system does get better as I get further and further away from my
Uh-huh.
diagnosis state.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a good thing to look forward to because that'll be good. And did they say I'm prying now. I'm prying. Did they say that this would impact your sex life or anything like that? Like you're not going to be interested in sex, or you're just not going to want to show up or anything like that?
Not prying again. So estrogen, I call estrogen the WD-40 of the body. So I tell people all the time because something I didn't know, because they say young people don't get diagnosed with breast cancer, they don't think about sexual health. They don't
Mm-hmm.
think about family planning or
Right.
IVF. So I ask all the questions that a 60 or 70-year-old grandmother would not ask. So the question that you asked, what happens to my sexual health? What
Yeah.
happens if I want to have babies? So I am in, it's called pelvic floor therapy.
Mm.
It's basically physical therapy for your vagina area.
Mm.
And it is helping me maintain the memory, the muscle memory of not just my pelvic area, but it also includes like your bowels and your core as well. I did not do IVF, so I did not freeze any eggs prior to my
Mm.
diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
I think cancer is also funny, not funny, but it's just ironic. I've always known that I did not want to have children.
Mm.
And when I would be with partners, I would say, I don't want children yet. So when I got diagnosed at 30, I felt like the universe was taking that choice
Wow.
away from me. But I've met so many people who didn't freeze their eggs. And if God wanted them to have a baby, their rainbow baby came after. But
Mm-hmm.
there's so many non-traditional ways to have a family, be
Mm.
it foster, adoption, what have you. But I didn't freeze my eggs because that was costly. There are grant programs and nonprofit organizations that help women subset that cost, but that is something I did not want to go through. Just because of like I didn't want children at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and also my past myomectomy journey and just what hormones do to my body. I was just ready to have my cancer surgeries.
Awesome. Awesome. Again, today's topic is healing beyond the diagnosis. My guest today is Angel Thompson. Thank you, Angel, for just being so transparent on everything thus far. I did want to ask you because you've been through a lot,
Mhm.
a lot. And where are you getting the strength to want to help other people? Why is that so important to you?
I've always, and this was before my cancer journey,
Mm-hmm.
I've always just wanted to be the person, like that friendly person in the room. that can not just help someone, but advocate for somebody. Because
Yeah.
everybody doesn't need help. Sometimes people just, they don't have their voice yet.
Right.
So I always wanted to be the person to speak up, but also educate the world.
Mm.
Um, so just in different walks of life, personal or professional, I feel like it's my duty. I mean, my name is Angel Joy, so it's my duty to like share the message with people, but it's just not me. It's my parents, it's my siblings, it's my team of doctors, it's my line sisters, it's my communities, it's my neighbors. One of my neighbors is a nurse. So when I was first diagnosed, she was like, "Yeah, I used to work in the oncology wing. So whatever you need, like let me know." So she gave me like pointers to go with prior to me knowing anything.
Mm.
So it's not like community has not just raised me, but held me up during this time.
Yeah, it's amazing because you did mention that breast cancer was not in your family bloodline. And so just to have that support, right? Here it is, as a family, you're experiencing something that has not been experienced before. And so now you're going through uncharted territory and just trying to really find out, what is this? What is this? What are the impacts? What are my choices? Right? What is my survival rate? How do I maneuver? How do I kind of keep a regular day knowing that I got to go and I got to get these treatments? I have to have these conversations. I have to see these doctors. It is a lot to take on and try to normalize that, right? Because again, you said it, other women have had it, but your story is unique, right? There's only one Angel Thompson. Nobody else has had it the way Angel's having to go through it. So shouts out to your family and everybody in your community that has been supportive, because sometimes when the days are dark, because people are fearful, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to offer you. They may go radio silent. Well, it's not my problem.
Yes,
That's
and
your problem. You'll figure out, go pray about it, right? God will help you. God will see you through. But it takes a family being able to lean in to show support that gives you this inner strength. Is that correct, Angel?
indeed. And I don't want to say that my life is perfect. Like
Right.
we have the people that did not know how to show up or did not show up,
Mm-hmm.
but that has nothing to do with me. That
Mm-hmm.
is all on them. And one of my favorite sayings is all over my social media, and I share it to people in the cancer, going through their own cancer journeys. We cannot discuss the people who left because so
Right.
many people got it right.
Mm.
I've lost best friends
Oh.
I would speak to every day. And when
Oh.
I got cancer, nothing.
Wow.
I had family members who I would not speak to every day, but
Right.
family
Yes.
couldn't get together, couldn't send a Bible verse, not and no longer a part of my journey.
Okay. Okay.
Because there's so many people, I just think about, I consider help and support. If you don't know how to get to point A from point B, you put it in your map, you put it in your navigation
Mm-hmm.
system. If you don't know how to cook a certain meal, you look up the recipe, and then you may not get it right the first time, but you're
Mm-hmm.
going to try it again.
Yes.
So, what makes communication different?
Mm.
So, just years of therapy, but again, my family and having that foundation. I know that I am an amazing person.
Mm-hmm.
And when people fell by the wayside, I just knew it wasn't on me, that it was something that they were dealing with internally.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you, Angel, what would you say to a young lady, 26 years old, being diagnosed with breast cancer? What are some of the encouraging or inspiring things you would share with that
Mhm.
young lady to help her get through?
Definitely, one book that got me through my journey, just gets me through the days, is The Power of Now.
Mm.
And just being able to live in the moment. Like it is
Mm-hmm.
impossible to be unhappy when you are presently breathing. You're able to go to your appointments. You may not agree with everything going on in the world right now, but in the moment, if you check in, you should be at 100% positivity. Something that helped me during my diagnosis is learning that no is a complete
That
sentence.
is correct. Mm-hmm.
Don't have to show up and be who you used to be, because
Mm-hmm.
cancer does change you. And everyone won't understand. Like some people still don't understand the full scope of my diagnosis
Mm-hmm.
and all the side effects and everything that I have to go through. But that is not, it's not on you to educate everyone about your diagnosis.
Right.
I remember when I first heard the word cancer and how long it took me to call everyone, because I thought about in the moment, like how would this person feel if they read it on social media, or how would this
Right.
person feel if they heard it through the grapevine, when in all reality it should be how do you feel about sharing your journey. um, and then just be authentically you. If you don't
Mm-hmm.
want to smile at your appointment, you don't have to smile.
Mm-hmm.
It is okay to cry. I cried at 99.9% of my appointments.
Okay.
My mom could tell you this. I want to say 2024 was my first year, but 2025 was literally my first year not crying at my appointments.
Mm-hmm.
And we're only at March. And it's just, it's a journey.
Yeah. Yeah, it's emotional, right, Angel? Just the and let's be fair. Let's be honest and keep it a buck. Whenever there are things that happen in our life, we have every right to get emotional.
Mhm.
So you having to deal with this is no different than anyone else having emotions or feelings. We are that way. It's just what it is. If you feel an emotion come up, we should not suppress it. We should let it happen. Again, this is a journey, your journey that was not familiar to you. This isn't something you prayed for. It happened. And you're
Mhm.
trying to figure out the best mechanisms and ways to get through this successfully. Not just get through it, but get through it and be healthy, be solid, be able to have a normal life. Follow instructions and do what you need to do. But this is what, some of the things that you needed to go through. So totally understand if you have to cry. Now it's looking like you're starting to get on the other side. I would be crying because I'm getting on the other side.
Indeedy.
I would be crying because of that. Um, Angel, have you had workshops, or how do you connect with people? I understand in some of your background that you've worked with health organizations and possible, was it hospitals as well? Did you connect with
Yeah, so
them?
I currently serve as an angel advocate for the Tiger Lily Foundation, which is a
Mm,
nonprofit that helps educate and support Black women and women of color going through cancer journeys.
mm-hmm.
But funny enough, I just came from a breast cancer conference down in Atlanta, hosted by For the Breast of Us. They're also based in Atlanta, Georgia. And one of my breast cancer friends, we call each other breasties, we were sitting down at the table and someone walks up and was like, "How do you know Angel?" And she says, "How everybody knows Angel." She comes up to you and she goes, "Hey, I'm Angel after cancer from Instagram. I DM'd you a couple of weeks ago because with me being diagnosed during a pandemic,
Yeah.
a lot of my things were majority of my things were virtual. So that is how I met the majority of my cancer crew and
Mm-hmm.
like support system is through social media like TikTok and Instagram. And now that a pandemic, of course, is lifted and over, we're able to meet and mingle in person, which is amazing. But I just try my hardest to say hi. Like I want to say hello
Yeah,
first
right.
because that's just who I am.
And that's a wonderful attribute, Angel. Never stop doing that. Do you feel that there's enough support in breast cancer research? Like, I've heard some rumblings in certain spaces, and I don't want to use names because you may have relationships with some of the people. But do you feel that every time people make a donation towards the breast cancer society, or to help fight or do research about breast cancer, that those dollars are getting where it's supposed to be?
That is a multi-sided question. So
Okay.
coming from my professional nonprofit expertise,
Mm-hmm.
always think about capacity. There's so much that goes into running a business, even if the mission is to preserve cancer. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
prevent cancer and add to cancer research. We have to think about feeding our volunteers. We have to think about transportation. We have to
Yeah.
think about logistics. So I encourage everyone to do their due diligence before they donate, to see actually where the money is going, because then you can pull up the report to see how much of the money went to certain
Mm-hmm.
organizations. I believe I'm a huge cheerleader for impact. So there are some smaller organizations who impact scream larger than your large organizations that have the annual race. So it's just important to pay attention to like the small, kind of like the mom and pops of the non-foundation world when it comes to cancer research and
Mm-hmm.
care, before looking at the big wigs. Because even as I continue to go through my journey, I've received more yeses from the smaller organizations before I received a reply from the larger ones,
Mm.
if that makes sense without calling out any names.
Okay. Awesome. You mentioned that because of your age, mammograms unfortunately are not offered as part of standard or standard checkups for women, right? It's really 40, 45 and up. So women that are 39 and younger don't have an opportunity. So what do we do for the younger women, to be make sure that they're checked? We're doing some type of early detection or checking. How do we do that, Angel? What should we do?
I encourage everyone to do their monthly breast exam. That can take less than 90 seconds. You can do that once a month. Typically, people say fill it on the first. The first of a month is just a wonderful reminder to start everything anew.
Mm,
Also, advocate for yourself. Mammograms, you pay out of pocket, but if you do have a family history
mm.
of cancer and specifically breast cancer, you can advocate and talk to your doctors and have those conversations about what does monitoring look like for me as I get older.
Hmm. And as a woman, because again, let's talk about it. I think when my mom was coming up, it was a doctor, and you went to the doctor only when you were sick. I'm talking about younger, like way back in the day. Now, we've come into a cycle or generation of we have an internal medicine doctor, and then we have an OBGYN doctor. So, Angel, is the recommendation that we challenge or ask both of those doctors about how to do the self breast examination? Because sometimes we don't know, right? We don't know how to touch ourselves, what to feel, how to properly administer a self examination. And I'm touching myself, but this is for men too, right? So do we challenge both of those, our healthcare professionals, in maybe giving us a pamphlet or how to really do it? Or what say you, Angel? How should we go about it?
Yes, I would definitely start with your primary care physician.
Uh-huh.
Also, look to video resources. So, things like if you just Google self-check breast
Mm,
exam, you can look at things on YouTube, things on
mm-hmm.
Facebook will pop up. But I would also encourage people, how many doctors you have. You have the same conversation with each doctor.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't care if it's my dentist, I'm telling my dentist, I have breast cancer, I'm in chemotherapy, because then you find out chemotherapy affects things like your bone health. So if it affects
Yeah.
your bone health, it affects your teeth as well.
Mm-hmm.
So all of my doctors, they have the same conversation and have the same like institutional knowledge when it comes to my diagnosis.
Mm-hmm. So, Angel, what would you like to see happen? I know you said early in the conversation, really fighting to, and advocating for mammograms and things of that early detection screening, to happen for at least women for in their as early as their 30s. Is that really what we're trying to strive for?
So much. So definitely advocating for mammograms and early detection.
Mm-hmm.
But most recently, I believe that was the Super Bowl, there was a commercial for mammograms and
Mm-hmm.
breast health.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone in the commercial was smiling or just living a flamboyant, happy
Their
life.
best life. Yeah.
A real authentic depiction of
Mm-hmm.
what breast cancer looks like. Even if you look at a pamphlet in a mammogram office, you'll see a woman that doesn't look like us with blonde hair smiling
Mm.
as they put her boob on the mammogram machine. No one is smiling before they get their boobs crushed by the mammogram machine.
Nobody's real. We try. Now let's be clear. I'm gonna be nice to the technician because they're the
Yes.
ones. They're gonna be squeezing and pulling and we want to have a rapport. But yeah, it's not the best a few minutes of your life, but it can save your life. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important that we do have it. Is there a book inside of you, Angel? Are you an author? I see author written across your forehead. Do you have a book or something that could educate young women and even moms that have young daughters, or just like, how do we keep the conversation happening? Because an ounce of prevention is better than the cure. I think I might have jacked up that, but you know what I'm saying. How do we have, stop making these conversations so broad out, but more closer to home? Because even if we don't have children, there's a niece, possibly. There's a female cousin. There's women in the family, even if they're not biologically out of your body, right? You might be, I heard you say line sister. You may be a godmother, right? Because of your relationships with your friends and the things that you've done in community. People are going to want to point you to be, very integral in their daughters' lives. So how do we have these conversations within our tribes?
I think it starts just like how we started our conversation today.
Mm,
Hello, are you interested in discussing this? And then you go from there.
yeah.
And I believe so many times within the Black community, communication is the barrier because
Mm,
people, they don't want people to know what they got going on. They don't
mm,
want people in their business, or
mm,
it's not people in my business when my story can save someone's life.
mm,
If my transparency is saving someone's life, I will tell it all.
mm,
Um, because people, we get breast cancer.
yeah.
It's not something I can hide. I mean, I probably could have put a wig over the bald head or not post as much on
Mm,
social media when I was going through it,
mm,
but it's just a chapter of my life. And I think that is something that my oncology team and my therapist and my family helped me get through it. Like when you look back on this a year from now, two
yeah.
years, I'm at 3 years, you're going to be so proud
Yeah.
of not just how much you didn't shut up.
Mm,
Because now I look back and I can look at my past journey kind of like a history book or a photo
yeah.
album and
Yeah.
an archive of everything that I've not only been through, but the things I've accomplished during this journey as well.
And the times are so different, Angel, because you do have social media, right? There
Yes.
was the old word of mouth and calling up people, but now there's social media and you're touching people you don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a good thing, right? And we talk about the algorithms, but sometimes the algorithms are helpful because you come up on people's explore page. It just you're coming up and you're being shown to people, and you're helping people hopefully have the conversations with somebody, because it's not going to go away
Mm-hmm.
without you doing some early detection. You gotta get checked and make sure that you're fine. And with everything that's going on, stress has not relieved us, right? I still think that stress is still a component of some of the things that we as Black women, we take in and we deal with. And then
Mm-hmm.
compounding on the foods that we eat and what's put in those foods, they're different than what our ancestors had access to, right? More healthier. Shoot, they were growing it, so you know it was good. So now things are different. The animals are on steroids and things like that, and the seasons are not defined. So that could be impacting when and how flowers and grass and things are growing, the access to those things for our animals. It's a whole thing. So everything is changing, but yet some things remain the same, which
Mm-hmm.
means cancer is still here. So having these conversations are very important. Do you have, from a social media perspective, Angel, talk to me. Do you have any type of Facebook group or things that you follow or recommend? Like, where should people kind of lean in to follow some of the resources that you follow?
Yes. So on Instagram and TikTok, first of all, myself, I'm at Angel After Cancer,
Mm-hmm.
um, all one word. But on the other social media panels, For the Breast of Us was one of the first places where I found Black breast cancer women that looked like me.
Mm-hmm.
The Breasties is another wonderful
That's
organization.
cute.
Oh, You're So Tough. She helps people. She kind of adds like illustrations to people's cancer journeys. So
Mm-hmm.
kind of using people's journey as a resource, but through the arts. Here in Washington, D.C., my favorite place to go to is the Smith Center. They are the perfect blend of cancer, community, and culture.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and let me see if I have any other places. I think that's it.
Okay.
Hope I'm not forgetting anybody. I'm sorry if I do. But those are like my go-to organizations
Mm-hmm.
at the moment.
And Angel, again, tell them what is your social media platforms and handles?
Yes, so I am Angel After Cancer, and that is on TikTok and Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome. I think there's a book in you, Angel.
I see it.
Oh.
It's coming soon. So I did like a journal. I published a journal. So just a book, no words, but at each page it says, "Today I am grateful for,"
Mm-hmm.
and I published that during my like chemo. That was like my because of course I stopped working during chemotherapy, so that was like my self personal project.
Mm-hmm.
I taught myself just how to publish a book, and I did that because just starting off each day was with gratitude is something that got
Awesome.
me through the journey. So
Awesome.
that is available on Amazon. And I believe you just type in Angel Thompson
Mm-hmm.
and breast cancer.
Yes. Awesome. What would you like to leave the listeners with today? Any further inspiration? Because you've been an inspiration just by being here. You look amazing. You're a
Thanks.
beautiful person, inside and out. We could feel that here through the screen. Wish you was here in person. If I had the money, I'd have flew up to DC and had the conversation with you face to face, or flew you back down here to Atlanta. Had I known, I should have talked to you last week while you was in town. Um, but is there anything that you'd like to share with people as ways to be inspired or to just keep going, keep moving?
Three words that have helped me push through this journey, definitely grace. You have to give
Mm,
yourself and your body grace. Any and every day could be different. Perseverance and patience. I have four words actually. So
mm,
grace, perseverance, and patience, but
mm.
also tabula rasa. And tabula rasa is Latin for blank slate. So just meaning you're starting each day fresh, each day anew, and just continuing in spite of what the world throws your way.
Mm.
Those four words, I have them everywhere on my home, on my screensaver, little index cards, post-it notes, but they are just a gentle reminder of grace and that
Awesome.
everything is going to be okay for me.
Awesome. You have anything major, any projects or anything coming up, any conferences, speaking engagements that you'd like to share with us?
So I just left the first, their inaugural breast cancer conference that I keep speaking about because I had a wonderful time with my
Awesome.
community. I believe it was over 200 women of color that gathered for the Breast of Us at their BaddieCon conference.
Mm-hmm.
I am hopefully attending Camp Breasty this summer, which is another educational advocacy and community event with breast cancer survivors, breast cancer and gynecological cancer survivors and
Mm,
thrivers, and just volunteering with the organizations that I currently volunteer with, to include the Tiger Lily Foundation and the Smith Center here in Washington, D.C.
mm-hmm. Awesome stuff. Angel, are you able to go back to work at this time, or you're taking some time to focus on yourself?
So I am actively looking for employment now.
Mm,
This is like my first 2025 is like my year of
mm.
reset. So I'm not only comfortable, but I have the actual body health to return to the office.
Awesome.
Um, when I finished chemo in 2022, I was putting on the biggest facade trying to return to the office, and
Mm,
my body wouldn't let me, my mind wouldn't let me, and
yeah.
my doctors were like, absolutely not
Mm-hmm.
for healing. So I am in a position where I am actively looking for work at the moment.
Yes. Okay. Listen to your body.
Yes, indeed.
Listen to your body. 2025 maybe you need a little more time in 2025 just to kind of reset and make sure you're good. But listen to your body. Your body never lies. Never lies. It tells you the truth all the time. Thank you so much, Angel, for your time this afternoon. This was a great and insightful conversation. I'm super excited. I wish you all the best in everything that you're doing, Angel. I know success is going to continue to follow you in everything that you do. You're such an inspiration, and I just hope that we can change some of these laws and some of these policies so that early detection and screening can happen for our women as early as 30, because things are changing. Breast cancer is not something that happens to older women. It's happening to us at different ages and different demographics. So it would be great to know that we have a fighting chance by doing early detection and screening. So thank you for sharing your story with us, and all the best. I wish you stay healthy in everything that you do, and we'll definitely be in touch. Listen, people, that's my time. Real Chicks Rock, you know me. I am everywhere. I'm still on Facebook. I think I'm going to come off eventually. It's just wearing me out. It's just too much over there going on. I'm on Instagram. I got a website, realchicksrock.com. We got the YouTube channel. Go out. You're on YouTube checking out reels and shorts and all kinds of stories and watching programming on YouTube. Go ahead and subscribe and like. Subscribe to Real Chicks Rock on YouTube. Like, share, hit the notification bell so you don't miss one of these conversations that I have. We've been doing this for a minute and we're super excited. We're not going to stop. We got some more ground to cover. Listen, before I go, let me leave you with this from I love this guy. May he rest in peace. Mr. Frankie Crocker was on the radio on WBLS 107.5 in New York City when I was growing up. He would end his show every night saying this: may you live to be 100, and I live to be 100 minus a day. So I never knew that beautiful, wonderful, gorgeous, kind people like you had passed away. Until next time, be well, take care, and continue to rock on. Thank you for checking out Real Chicks Rock Presents Real Discussions. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next show.